However, don't feel this particular fight is getting enough respect, if you will. I don't think Keith Thurman, and I'm going to explain in this video, I don't think he's going to go in there and just knock this guy out in the first round like some of the comments are suggesting. I think this is a good competitive fight. Now, I'm not feeling froggish enough to go and side with Leonard Bundu and say he'll win this, because I don't think he will win the fight. However, I don't think it's as much of a whitewash and non-competitive fight as some people are making it seem. You can't, a guy who's 40 and undefeated, even with limited competition, you have to give him some level of credit, because that, you know what I'm saying, he has a good amount of fights. It's not like he fought 12 people and he's undefeated. He's been fighting, and you got to give him credit. So anybody who's a veteran, you got to respect them. If they have experience is huge. So I really don't see it as being a whitewash. Like as in he's just gonna get knocked out in the first round. Basically the comments that I'm seeing. And I like Keith Thurman a lot. Another thing, Keith Thurman is coming off of a shoulder injury. So I really doubt that Keith Thurman is gonna come out guns blazing in the opening second. You know what I'm saying? That has a lot to do with like inactivity, ring rust, coming off of an injury. That does something to your confidence, because you're not necessarily 100%. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be a little bit more apprehensive to throw, or, you know what I mean? Your confidence shouldn't be at an all-time high. So I think coming off a shoulder injury is good timing for Keith Thurman and Leonard Bundu, or more or less for Leonard Bundu to actually fight Keith Thurman, because he's coming off of an injury. People, you got to take, that's why like my predictions have been pretty good, is because I tried to take as much data into consideration as possible. Thurman is coming off of an injury, so what would that do? Aside from coming off of an injury, he just fought Diaz, who basically had to retire on the stool and didn't really give him any work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't even really competitive. And he looks like he comes fit, so conditioning, I don't see it being a problem. He throws a lot of punches. I think this is going to be probably more competitive than people are leading on to. So I'll just leave it at that. I am picking Keith Thurman to win it, but I don't think it's gonna be easy work like the Julio Diaz fight, where it just looked like he didn't really have to do much but open up. I really don't see it being that type of fight, but I am picking Keith Thurman. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Another prediction that I got in the can. I got pissed off with all the bullshit with the Herrera and Bradley shit last night, so I didn't get to make this video about Keith Thurman, and there was just a lot of boxing. So I want to make the video now, and I played snippets from my prediction video, my audio, and I told you guys Keith Thurman versus Leonard Bundu is not easy work for one time. And just another prediction, the boy got right. I see HBO and Top Rank try to pull a fast one. I guess they were mad that my prediction streak was undefeated for a while, so they try to pull some bullshit with that Timothy Bradley fight and Diego Chavez, because I said Bradley would win via unanimous decision and it was a draw. But in my mind, Bradley did win a unanimous decision, so the boy's still undefeated. As far as Keith Thurman, Leonard Bundu, the thing that makes me mad is I really want to call Roger Mayweather, because some of y'all don't know shit about boxing. I'm reading comments like, Keith Thurman's overrated, he sucks, he was running, he's a bum. And that's why I'm making this video. I want to address those different things. Now, I mean, saying Keith Thurman is running from Leonard Bundu, you just sound fucking retarded. Like, one, what did Bundu do where Keith Thurman needed to run? And you don't have to run when you have that type of power and you're not really receiving anything back. Now, in my prediction, I thought the fight would be a little bit more competitive, because I thought Bundu would throw a little bit more offense. He wasn't really throwing. He wasn't really committing to his punches. He got a taste of the power in the first round, and he just kind of went into veteran mode. You know what I'm saying? And I told you guys that. He's a veteran. He's crafty, slippery. He comes in good shape, so that'll help, you know what I mean, if you get knocked down and recuperation, things like that. And that's what it was. But some of you fans don't want to do the research and know who these guys are. And it's just nowadays in boxing, everybody sucks. Everybody's a bum. Everybody's overrated. just because you haven't heard of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, people with channels, we get on here and like a lot of us talk real boxing because we follow it, not just Showtime and HBO, ESPN Friday Night Fights, classic fights. You know what I'm saying? Fox Sports One, different things like that. Watch the fights on Unimos in Mexico and shit. You know what I mean? And everyone doesn't do that. So therefore, they leave these comments like Keith Thurman was running and stuff like that. And I don't care what level of fan you are. I respect boxing fans and I appreciate boxing fans. But be the fan that you are. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, just refrain from leaving certain comments. Again, I don't think this fight showed that Keith Thurman is overrated at all. And the fact of the matter is, you can't knock everybody out. And I get it for this. This is the reason I understand a little bit of the backlash is because he's building his whole like moniker KOs for life, and people wanted to see him press the action more and really push for the knockout once you seen the guy couldn't fuck with you. Now, shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation. I don't know if this caused it, but he did a video with Keith Thurman, and he was talking about what something Bradley said. Bradley said he feels he's an overall better fighter than Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman, you could tell he felt a little bit insulted by Bradley's comment, and he was like, "Yeah, my footwork's ugly as shit." Da da da. I'll put the link in the description, and make sure you guys subscribe to Dante's Boxing Nation. Now, I don't know if this fueled it, if he was hearing more comments like this when he was in Vegas, but it was like Keith Thurman wanted to prove something. That's what I really felt. I felt he wanted to prove that he could actually box. You know what I'm saying? And that he's not just a knockout artist. I'm not saying he didn't want the KO, because I think he did want a KO too, but I think he got so out of rhythm of what would give him that KO by trying to show he can box and fight a more measured approach that the KO never came. So again, I don't think he wasn't trying to get a knockout, but I think in his he had like a chip on his shoulder trying to prove that he could box. Like he said, he, like, you know what I'm saying, Bradley, he heard the comments. Bradley said that he's a guy with power, and that's all. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like he fought in a way where he didn't take the KO when it could have happened. Like in the first round, if you look at it, he had him hurt. You know what I'm saying? Even when Bundu stood up, his legs didn't look good. You know what I'm saying? He looked kind of shaky, like staggering a bit. And he didn't capitalize on that. He kind of did the Kovalev where he gave Bernard Hopkins a lot of respect. But the difference is, I mean, that's Hopkins versus Bundu. Bundu is a solid veteran, but he's not world class like to the Bernard Hopkins. You know what I'm saying? Bernard Hopkins' resume shits on Bundu's. So for Kovalev, it made a little bit more sense because you're in there with a 50-year-old master who can capitalize. For Bundu, he didn't really show much. So again, I'm reading all these comments that Thurman sucks and he runs. Like, he dominated the fight. And don't get it twisted. I'm a fair boxing fan. The fight was boring as fuck to me. You know what I mean? I didn't really I expected fireworks. I thought it would be more, but it was really on behalf of Bundu because he didn't really throw much offense. He just went into kind of survival mode, and you know what I mean, you try to find some openings, but he just wasn't busy enough. Like Bundu typically is a solid body puncher. He didn't really do that because he was worried about, I don't know, Thurman's reach or his hand speed, power, and he didn't really commit to anything. But as far as saying Keith Thurman is a bum, I think a lot of people said that because he wasn't able to knock out a guy that we never heard of. You know what I'm saying? And people are really retarded. That's what I really feel. Like a lot of boxing fans, maybe you, I don't know. I'm not trying to insult people, but I am, because some of y'all don't know shit about boxing, and you get on these videos. Some dudes are just tough, point blank. Period. You're not gonna knock out everybody. It's the way it is. If you watch the Earl Spence fight, and shout out to Earl Spence, he looked real good. His opponent took the fight on 3 weeks' notice from Tijuana, Mexico, and Castro, that's the name of his opponent, was getting destroyed. Spence was working the body. Spence has good power, and the guy wouldn't go down. You know what I'm saying? He was unloading everything. He was throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this motherfucker, and he would not go down. Some people are like that. Some people are tough. A lot of people would fold and give in, but some people, the motherfuckers from Tijuana, Mexico, and some of the motherfuckers are just really tough. You know what I mean? And it is what it is. You're not going to knock out everybody. And then I told you in the video that Bundu is crafty. He's 40 years old and he's undefeated. So he's a bum or whatever you want to say, but he still knows how to not get knocked out too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a grown ass man. Um, so I think some of the hate that I'm seeing for Keith Thurman, I think is unwarranted. Styles make fights. Bundu has a style that it's not really. He does a lot of feints and stutter steps, and like he doesn't have like, he's very unrhythmic. Like, he doesn't have like a solid rhythm to get a beat on. And then I think Keith Thurman didn't capitalize when he had his man hurt, and then the fight just played on like you've seen. You know what I mean? But I think that's a lot because of Bundu's style, and just because you don't know him doesn't. I told you what was gonna happen in the fight. Some people were saying, "Oh, Keith Thurman destroys him. Oh, he's getting destroyed in round one. He's getting knocked out." Like, y'all buy into the hype without even looking. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know who he's fighting just because you never heard of him. You're like, Bundu, what the fuck? That sound like some motherfucking, like some food and shit. That sound like some soup, nigga. Like, so you just assume because you never heard of him, he sucks and he's not gonna bring any dynamic to the table that could trouble. But I told you the video is called Keith Thurman versus Leonard Bundu. Bundu is not easy work for one time. That's what my video is called, and that's the snippets that I played at the beginning of this video. So I mean, I don't think Keith Thurman's stock really goes down. I mean, I know he's not getting a Mayweather fight off of that, but I don't think his stock goes down per se because he just showed you a different dynamic. And to me, I thought that was a good thing to see that he is not just a one-dimensional Ruslan Provodnikov. And I like Provodnikov a lot, but let's be real. Provodnikov has one plan of attack. He'll take punches to give punches. He's tough. He has a chin, and he has destructive, I could fuck you up power. That's his MO. That's it. There's no, you know what I'm saying, like Muhammad Ali shuffle. There's no like tricks. It's what you see is what you get with Ruslan Provodnikov. So for Keith Thurman, I think he just showed another element to his arsenal that he can actually box when he needs to. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand what the hatred is for. Like, how is he a bum when he dominated and his opponent didn't want to engage? I've seen several fights like this that weren't like, you watch Nonito Donaire versus I keep forgetting that guy's name, the Japanese guy. He fought the Japanese guy on the Brandon Rios Mike Alvarado 1 undercard, I believe, and the guy wouldn't engage. If you don't engage, it's kind of hard to make the fight and look spectacular. Plus, as we know in boxing, if you really know boxing, there's a couple of guys who, no matter who fights them, it's hard to look good against them. Carlos Molina at 154, minus K9 Bundred for whatever reason. Molina looked like shit in that fight, but there's been guys like Edislani Laura who didn't look good against him. James Kirkland didn't look good against him. Look at Mauricio Herrera. Jose Benavidez didn't knock him out in 8 rounds like he normally knocks out everybody else. Danny Garcia didn't knock him out and had struggled with him, and I thought Herrera got robbed in both those fights. Miguel Vasquez versus Mickey Bay. Miguel Vasquez, another guy he's hard to look great against. You know what I mean? It's just his style. So I think Bundu is the same thing. And had you known that, for the boxing fans that didn't know it, that are leaving these comments like Keith Thurman is trash, then, you know what I'm saying, it wouldn't be that much of a surprise that he couldn't knock him out. And I told you that. He's crafty, he's in shape, he's a veteran, and there's little data on him. There's not a bunch of fights that you could watch to really study your opponent. And I told you all of these things, plus Keith Thurman coming off of basically a long layoff, not just with his injury, but I told you the injury would play a part. What did Keith Thurman say at the very end of the fight? He felt a little bit rusty. And then I also told you it's like he's been inactive longer than that because his fight before that was against Julio Diaz, and it wasn't even competitive. It wasn't like he got some work in. He just ran through Julio Diaz, and then the fight was stopped. You know what I'm saying? So the fight played out exactly like I thought it was going to play out. Keith Thurman being victorious, but not looking like spectacular against a veteran. Anyway, I don't think Keith Thurman is washed up or a bum like some of you guys are saying. That's cool if you think that. Styles make fights. Let's see him in there with. I want to see him step up competition. You know what I mean? Like put him in there with a Maidana, Robert Guerrero, somebody we know. Because at the very least, if Thurman knocks out Guerrero, who's never been knocked out, then that'll show me something. So I think he needs to fight that class of opponent, a Guerrero, a Maidana, a Kell Brook, Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? Somebody with some stripes so we could really get a feel for this guy. How's he deal with speed like Amir Khan? How's he deal with someone who has power and is tough like Maidana? You know what I'm saying? How's his chin gonna hold up? Things like that. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.